Halfway down the stairs, someone's rightness steps off. One step down, another triviality is breathing down one's neck. Without being able to untangle the twine of words, people try to tie meaning to countless thread ends day after day. But by the time they realize that the knot is slowly shifting, it is already called a belief. Neither doubts that their steps are perfect, but the slightest difference in rhythm soon turns into the core of non-cooperation. At that moment, silence becomes a weapon, and even a small cough becomes an arrow of retort. The ghost of a gigantic obsession nestles behind the line. It's no big deal. When someone makes coffee with milk, someone frowns and tells them in the back of their mind that the order is wrong. No one is listening, but the silence resembles the silence that once gave birth to war. A mirror embedded in the bones of the self that is merely a unit of evaluation when viewed through the eyes of others. And this mirror is often distorted. When you think you are the only one seeing straight, the world has already begun to tilt at an angle in everyone's eyes. This is where the phenomenon of discrepancy arises. It is not a disagreement of opinion, but a fate that time, feelings, and perspectives could not stand in the same place. If only we could realize that it is a misunderstanding. If only we could peel off the feathers one by one and let the wind blow through them. The triviality has the possibility of quietly transforming into forgiveness. It is a kind of kindness that can only sprout in disagreement. To stand together in the wind, even if they remain misaligned. Like a shard of glass, it is a trivial matter that changes its shimmering light from the angle of the light. Distorted shapes that are kneaded with clay in the name of egotism and cut off from each other. It is the object of daily prayer, an extraordinary devotion to something insignificant. The grains of sand we call truth are nothing more than an eyesore. The scraps of thread that we believe to be our lifeline are the dregs of a superstition to be laughed at. At the point where our gazes do not meet, congealed, there is the remnant of meaning that is not meaning. A crystalline body of rigid self-mimicry. The balance of 0 or 100 tramples over the vast fertile field of moderation, and only sterile conflict grows fat. The diminutive ego peers through a magnifying glass and misidentifies an insignificant dot as the center of the universe. War under the microscope, storm in a teacup. Silence glues the absence of understanding. Eloquence amplifies empty echoes. The armor of correctness is so rigid that it exposes the immobility of the self. Facing the mirror, I dance with the shadows, and the distortion of the shadows is the distortion of the world. Losing sight of the flow of the great river, they discuss the whereabouts of the bubbles drifting in the stagnation of the shore. They forget the movement of the stars and try to find the laws of the universe in the knot of a shoelace. They are unaware that the stones are the cornerstones on which they have built their lives. They are at odds with each other, and yet they are inseparable. The obsession with trivial things is a small resistance to the uncertainty of existence. It is a fragile but desperate ritual for a soul with no place to go to drop its tentative anchor. The net woven by this detention cannot catch a butterfly, but only entangles itself. A grain of truth that stirs secretly in the captivity of everyday life. The little detritus that grows in our hearts, overlapping like tiny fragments, but the words we exchange with others, the tone of our voice, the way we look at each other, all overlapping, are all a part of the eternal, unfinished question. Is this right? The small sludge overlaps like a trivial fragment. In the flow of time, memories and dreams intersect, and when a momentary glimmer echoes like an eternity, the discrepancies become inextricably linked wanderings that invite us to quiet contemplation. The moment we encounter the invisible law, the fragments of rough-hewn emotions are soon transformed into beautiful harmony. What we find in our obsession is not mere adherence, but rather a door to a new perspective that we have hidden inside ourselves. Even if small things clash with each other, the clash is a color spun in the great river of life. The countless small fragments that adorn everyday scenes are subtly intermingled, and like a faint shimmer hidden deep within us, the fragile but certain obsession wavers between dreams and memories. The film makes us realize that seemingly meaningless and trivial matters are in fact mirrors reflecting the whole picture of life. The discrepancies we tend to overlook are minute works of art created in the passage of time. Stepping into this sea of distraction, every moment of existence is transformed into an essence and a challenge.